Hi there, Michael Andre Ford, your American Angel Intuitive in Texas, good old US of A. I help people connect to the universe, have an experience with the universe. It's all direct. I practically step out of the way. It just means more seeing, hearing, feeling. You can have any answers to any questions. All languages are spoken, all dialects. Hear everything just the way you need to hear it. I don't see your questions. I don't see your answers. Who are you talking with? It's a lot to take in, so put the seatbelt on. But angels, hey, they've been here the whole time. They're unconditional love figures. They live in and around you, whatever way you need to think that this happens. If you want to think of them as interdimensional, galactic, just loving with wings, without wings, I help you see them both ways, just so you check those boxes. It's a lot of other unconditional love figures, though, from other cultures, religions, philosophy, and so on. So you can meet Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Socrates, um, who else? Plato, folks like that. You can meet various Native American chiefs, white buffalo calf woman, figures from India, maybe 20 to 25 of those. Runs the gamut up and down the list. Indira, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Sri Kaleshwar, Sri Shirdi Sai Baba, uh, Ananda Mayama, you name it. Also, just other figures: Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, light beings, fairies, a jinn who's East Asian mysticism. Again, angels by the hundreds or thousands. Um, Everyone's got their own cheerleading squad. It includes Aunt Martha, whoever your loving relatives are, your descendants, your ancestors. There might be some relatives in there that you haven't met that are still unconditional love. They're there to support you along your journey. And that's what this is. Your waking life as you know it now, which is pretty real. You got to pay the bills, you got to show up to work, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can walk a smoother path with all of this, and you don't have to do anything. In fact, it's all about slowing down the doing, slowing down, especially the knowing. If there's one thing I'd say Western society is really good at, it's the knowing part. And we're not talking any type of helpful knowing. We're talking the type of knowing that precludes possibility. It's scientific, it's medical, it's what we know about our neighbor. Even if everyone agrees that neighbor's a jerk, then knowing that a person's a jerk doesn't do anybody any good. In fact, if you could see your own energy, you've picked up that vibration of jerkishness when you think another person's a jerk. If you're practicing love, you haven't got room for anything else. You have to understand, though, the difference between what love is and unlove. Unlove is that type of knowing that precludes possibility, that is the currency that's in vogue today. Everyone's doing lots of unlove, unknowing. The real knowing is at a universal level. There are universal truths. I think you'll find our science gets upended soon. I think we're like 60 years behind in technology that really already exists right now. But when we have the galaxy, the cosmos come in, lots of loving beings of all different types of backgrounds. We're not the only show in the game. And I think you know that from Star Wars, from your own instincts. If you've ever seen a UFO before, I don't think there's anything to fear or worry about either. You're meant to walk your path. You're here, you signed up for a unique life path in this journey on Earth. Free will is the most important thing. So don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody else. Walk your own path, make your own decisions. You're the only one who can do all this figuring out of how it all works. And you could already be a very successful, for 5 decades, such and such type professional. For 5 decades, you've been doing the same thing. You might be a New York Times bestseller, Amazon bestseller, 25 books out there with 55 PhDs and 10 marriages under your belt. None of that's going to help you. This is about basic listening, basic seeing, basic feeling, and a few other senses. You got it all. You're using it all the time, all day long. You're using it when you get on the soccer field, but you use it to walk across the living room. You use it to flip a light switch on the wall, and you're the light switch. The intellect, the ego, the Julie McCoy from Love Boat, the one who wants to grab the clipboard and say, oh, I agree with that. What's there to agree with? There just is something that's beyond the human ego, the intellect, the psyche, the side of you that does negativity, unfortunately. 1% of 1%. Don't judge yourself. But I mean, it is fear-based, it's stress, it's guilt, it's judging, not allowing, it's reacting, resisting, rejecting, and a ton of other vibrations. But these are the lower vibrations. If life is a giant piano keyboard, you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of higher and higher vibrations. There's also low vibrations. Don't worry about this at all because you're going to do thinking for the rest of your life, I think. Um, you can't help it. But you can allow your thinking to serve as a reminder for what? It's up to you to decide. Breathe, relax, smile more. Um, you have to figure out how to flow your own energy. And guess what? You've been flowing it since day one, since you've gotten to this planet. But you do have to pay attention a little bit more if you want to get savvy. And this savviness, again, has nothing to do with the intellect. You could be the smartest astrophysicist out there talking about how you want to meet, discover how humans aren't alone in the universe. You want to discover the secrets of the universe, but sitting right in front of you, in you, and around you are all the answers. And that's how it works. We're all sort of in Plato's cave. And I'll do a different metaphor that's akin to Plato's cave. We're all in a jail cell, holding on to those bars in the window, trying to look out and saying, we want to be somewhere else, or I want to discover the universe. The door's open in the jail cell. You just have to walk out and experience the universe. That universe is here. That's the only place you're going to find it. Peaceful Warrior, the gymnastics movie, you wouldn't know it's spiritual. It's totally spiritual. Refers to this. Seth from the 1970s, a light being, Jane Roberts refers to this, that it's not going to be found externally. It's going to be found through the world you thought you knew. So it's sort of like Ulysses or Odysseus in the Odyssey. You have to do your own kind of adventure, exploring, to get out of what you thought you knew for a second, which, by the way, think about what do you really know? Is it that factual? Probably not. Or it might take cancer, an SUV wreck, death in the family to get you shaken up a little bit so you let go of firmly holding on to either your self-importance or what you thought you knew, societally speaking. But you have to go through your heart, through the world you knew, into a broader reality. And that broader reality is love. So this is really easy. Love itself is the fabric of the universe. You got to trust in this. That's a faith that's religious, not religious, knowing or not knowing while letting go. But it's the distance from here to here. It could take 3 lifetimes, a lifetime. You know, for most of us, it's a good 5 to 25 years to just trust more, allow more, smile more. A NASA astronaut, Story Musgrave, said it best. Getting out of the comfortable path, that's what exploration is all about. The ego wants you to be comfortable. The ego wants you to settle and compromise. The ego doesn't want more love. The ego is all about control, reacting, security, kind of like today if you turned on the news. The ego isn't where it's at. It's not life. Ego doesn't care about giving a hug to a dog. It doesn't need you to go for a walk. It doesn't want you to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. It doesn't want you to be here at all. The heart is just like an Olympic gold medalist, golfer, swimmer, whatever sport we're talking about. The ego is a wannabe. The ego's in a tiny little biplane from 1950 that's like out of that Alfred Hitchcock movie North by Northwest with Cary Grant. It's got a half tank of petrol. It's kind of rickety. And after a little bit of flying, the pilot gets really tired and has to go back to the hangar. The ego will say it's the toughest name in the game, or the toughest show on the road. But it's the heart that's already fully there, fully accepting. The heart is the basis for all musicians, artists, athletes, and everything else. But you have the heart of a lion, the heart of an athlete, the heart of a musician. Your heart's there. It's your juncture with all there is. And there's nothing to lose, nothing to gain here. Move past seeing the negative on all this. You just have to slow down the doing or the knowing that's up top. There's a flow that goes on from the neck up. And when you're actually having thoughts that are creative, you're down here. There's a little bit of thinking that gets something done when you're creative and so on. But most of your thinking is a complete waste of energy. You think about hugging the dog is not the dog. And it goes on and on and on. That's for you to discover. There's tons of self-help authors out there that can help point the way. Plato's been doing it for thousands of years. But you have all the opportunity in the world, not tomorrow, not next week, not reading my little book, Listening to Angels, written by angels. I saw balls of light as I was typing, but right here and now. Here and now. This very moment is your greatest opportunity for growth there will ever be. And the same thing for the next moment and the next moment. And in fact, all moments are really the same. They're peaceful, they're loving. Love is a constant. This is going to be a brain squisher here. That's it. Love is a complete constant. You only have to open your eyes to find love, to see love, to feel love, to experience love. Piglet asked Winnie the Pooh, how do you spell love? And Winnie the Pooh said, you don't spell it. That's through the brain, analyzing it. You got to spell it. You're separate from love. You feel it. When you're feeling it, you are love. You're shiny, you're infinite. You've already got everything you need to do anything you can envision. You'd have to get out of your own way, though, for the allowing part. Your ego will be the first one to say the but my problem is, my situation is, my drama is, hey, you don't understand my situation. I got 95 cats, 75 dogs. I'm on my 19th divorce, and I've just wrecked my 10th SUV in 10 days. Your ego is the but. Your ego is not going away, but you can walk a smoother path by simply realizing, let's do the ultimate mind virus. How about that? This is that program we can insert into the brain, or a way to look in a mirror and say, holy cow, have I been doing a lot of judging and thinking this whole time, which, welcome to being human. We all do it. Here's the phrase that can undo everything for you and start kind of an openness for you to be in your heart a little bit more. We're talking only 7% less thinking a day. That's it. An angel named Charlotte said, 7% less thinking a day is the Olympic gold medal standard. Get a calculator out, times 7% against 24 hours in a day. What's the answer? Somebody type that in the notes, and thank you very much in advance for that. I've done it 4 or 5 times. I know it's between, like, I think an hour and a half and 2 hours and 17 minutes. So do yoga. There's 40 million ways to be here. There's 400 million reasons why you can't possibly do it. But you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Now, if that's true, or you've discovered it's true, you can't hold on to it for too long. You're going to have a thought. You're going to put on the news. You're going to react and say, that guy's a jerk. That political party's a jerk. I agree. I disagree. They're right. I'm wrong. I'm right. They're wrong. There's a gajillion ways that the brain operates in a certain currency that precludes true possibility, true love, and true universal knowledge. That's why science is so limited. That's why everybody is so limited. I'm limited. Trust me. I do as much thinking as the next person out there. But I can tell you that as soon as you learn to start paying attention, you can quickly discern what a flow is, or an unflow, or unlove, or a waste of energy, or ego, a lack of compassion. Ego is a lack of love. You're out of love, like dental floss, Christmas Carol, Scrooge at the beginning of the story. You forget, though, that Christmas Carol Scrooge at the end of the story was the coolest dude in the world 79 pages later. Really cool dude. So most of the time we're going to be up here, get through the task, defined role, the thing you got to do, feel what you feel. Don't judge as much, if at all. Judging isn't getting much done. You can still feel your way through a situation that sucks, and then let it go, and you can let it go and move on. Once you realize what love is, once you realize that, hey, love is kind of shiny and infinite, and it makes everything change. It changes your perspective on everything. It changes how you roll. It changes how you view others. That neighbor that everybody agreed was a complete jerk, with a little bit of love, you've got more compassion, more love, more gentleness towards that person. In fact, that person's life plan may be running into you. And by you showing a little bit more kindness instead of choosing negativity, if you could just see the energy fields, the difference, the lack of energy, the lack of life, the flicker, the dimness, the darkness, if you want to call it, the negativity of doing, judging, and all the thinking that humans do, oof, oy vey, you would immediately recoil at yourself, being like, what you think you're judging is how you're rolling. You're only creating that energy really for yourself. You're not actually helping the other person. You're not helping yourself. You're generating the very thing that you claim you're trying to reject. So if you love people, you have no time to judge them. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. You can meet Mother Teresa. She can handle herself when it comes to her reputation here on planet Earth when she was alive as a human. She's even more shiny and infinite now, an unconditional love being here to help. You can hear her, see her full on. I have people on my show, Angels, Positivity, and Love, who can see angels right here. I usually tape in my office, but you can just look out your window and see a football field away, a tennis court away. You can see angels, your relatives, Einstein, Carl Jung, Gandhi, religious figures, non-religious figures, light beings, fairies. It technically is a lot of miracles, and you can get healing. The hugs are healing if you'll allow them to be healing. That's a conversation between you and angels. I don't do anything in particular. I don't hear your topics. I don't hear your illnesses. I make sure you have a conversation that's a direct conversation with angels, so you know what's possible, what's not, how to do it. How many hugs does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Let me put it a different way. If two people have a cold, and the cold you hear from angels, you can get it lifted off of you through a bunch of hugs. If one person's a particularly heavy thinker, not too heavy, if you're really a heavy thinker, there's no way you're going to allow for angels, a universe that's big, universal truths beyond human knowing, beyond human reach, that loves the fabric of the universe. You're probably going to be a little curmudgeonly if you're really shut tight like an oyster, like most of us are half our lives, a third of our lives, 2 days a week. We all do a lot of adulting. We all have that ancient burden of self-importance. We all certainly could do a lot more listening, basic listening, paying attention. But if you had two people, a heavy thinker and a very light thinker who was ready to go, who's like, no, I've met angels before. I'd love to have the cold lifted off of me. Might only take 7 hugs for the person who's a little bit lighter and easier going about the whole thing. 7 hugs to have your energy changed and to get an injection of love and life and light into you. That's between you and angels again, but the heavier set person might not be possible. It might be 75 hugs, 200 hugs. I think it just depends on how much resistance you're already flowing out there. We're flowing stuff all the time. We're flowing it from here. We're flowing it from here. This is awareness, timelessness, no limits, unconditional love, and a gajillion other synonyms. Christ consciousness, consciousness, allowing, it goes on and on. And up here, it's thinking. Resistance, fear, stress, worry, unlove. What would happen if you did a little less thinking? So like thinking about hugging your dog is clearly not hugging your dog. Best example I can come up with. Okay. Angels exist. Trust this is so. You can get your answers. You can get your hugs. You can see full on. People can do this as a group, own it individually, yell kumbaya, and do it as a group. Happens all the time. No big deal. Photographs can move. Historical photos of Audrey Hepburn, Sri Shirdi Sai Baba. We know historical photos can't move, but like I've been saying the whole tape segment here, photos can move. And interdimensional photos, I've got, some people like to say orbs. There's a gajillion communities out there with their own strict lingo and the way they look at stuff. Clearly, the silhouette figure is not a ball of light or an orb. And I've got many other photos that are not orbs. So I get away from the orb community just as much as I get away from the Catholic community or the angel community or the Buddhist community or the spiritual community or the quantum physics crowd or anything else. But there's 4 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. I don't think it's about any one set of lingo. I like to use the words compassion, unconditional love, allowing with capital A, and angels. But even angels have origin stories from all over the cosmos. Some are from Orion, Sirius, Andromeda, Pleiades, and other places. Others are local. You call it interdimensional, call it physical, call it what you will. It doesn't matter what you call it. Are you doing more love? Again, some stuff's written, some stuff's not. So angels can alter your path. You have to be the one to distinguish, like, hey, angels, is this written? Do I have to go through this? Can we alter it? If it's about healing, you ask and you hear what you can ask for. It's up to you to do your own letting go. It's up to you to do your own requesting, allowing, listening, feeling, receiving healing. Again, the hugs can become healing. What will you allow for? I show people their light. It's just auras, electricity, universal love, the same thing with the lingo. Call it anything you want. Consciousness. And yeah, you can see, I'll do it real quick. You can see my energy to be gold, green, yellow, blue. I'll tell a dad joke. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. You'll see what you see between my fingers. And go ahead and type it into the comment page. When you type a comment in and it's a positive comment, I get just like I've met all sorts of people. And the person who's a jerk, 2 weeks ago could be the coolest person 2 years from now, and they might come on my show. Or the person who was really nice could be really mean later. And then there's people yelling miracles, and there's people hanging up on you 2 minutes into what was supposed to be an introductory tea. I think I've seen it all by now in 13 or 14 years of this. And wait a second, it's like a twister wheel in the twister game. People's human nature change all over again. So take a breath on everything. You're getting rejected out there. It's not personal. It's not about you, but human nature, the ego's there to kind of protect you. It's a false security blanket. And the second you start connecting with angels, you might get jittery. The part of you that could react will react, maybe. Try to relax on all this. There's no try Yoda. But as Archangel Gabriel said, always try. It's not about the words. It's about how much are you here and how much are you just like out of thinking into the heart. Thinking, heart, open. And if you want, see some angel light in your hand. Okay, here comes my energy. It's just a little wisp, filament of light. No big deal, no big shakes. Give yourself permission to breathe. Breathe through the mouth. Leave the mouth open 1 millimeter. Let those shoulders heave-ho as you're breathing because you're turning up the volume that way. And just see a little stream of light. No triota. Do not. There is no try. See my light. But if you're really groovy with this, ask Joy the Angel or Charlotte the Angel to do a pink or a blue heart or a little sparkles coming off my energy. Something that you know isn't my field, but you just ask the universe to do a little extra. Look up on your ceiling in your room and see a flash, pink heart, pink shooting star, confetti made out of light. What will you allow for is the rub. So it doesn't matter what I talk about, and it doesn't matter what the critic out there might say or the complimenting person, the person who's being really kind and nice. It's what are they allowing for? They've got their own reality. I could take 1,000 scientists from the same quantum physics field study group, the Blank and Blank Consciousness Quantum Physics Institute in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And all 1,000 of them belong to the same organization. Does that mean they think the same way? Not in the slightest. It's like New England Patriots fans. They could barely agree on, is it the running back this season, the quarterback, the coaching situation, the kicker, the new rules in the NFL. Everyone has a different opinion on everything. There's 400 trillion thought forms flying around, just as there is a lot of love. So everyone's rolling differently. And the rub, the crux of this is for all of us, it's sort of like that motif in Odysseus or Ulysses, the epic, battle story, the journey from here to here. What are you allowing for? If you're finite, if you're limited, you know exactly what you're allowing for. You're living in a very defined business culture, scientific culture, spiritual culture. There's no room for learning anymore. You're totally successful. You've hung your shingle out. You've got all the books in the world. You've got all the audience in the world. What possibly more could there be to learn or to know? That's the way most of us roll. Trust me on this. Everyone's doing that. But the funny thing about life is it has a way of reminding you that life is continual growth and expansion. And it's only here that you're going to have the growth. And it's only through love that you're going to experience that growth. And you're going to have broader and broader understandings. Now, if you're like Scrooge at the beginning of the story, you're going to be awfully good at holding on, like the dog that doesn't want to go for a walk. So you do the very best you can to resist it all. And that's okay too. Everyone's good where they are right now. You can always do more listening, allowing, seeing, feeling. This whole concept of meeting the universe is available to anybody who frankly gives a crap or wants to pay attention. Now, the irony gets a little ironic if it's the Buddhist community, not to pick out any community, they can meet Buddha. The Catholic community can hear God and see and chat with Mary and Jesus, Archangel Michael and Gabriel. You can feel a human hand in your hand. You can walk with Jesus, talk with Jesus. Again, what will you allow for? Odds are, if you're in the specific groups, I don't want to generalize because I've had plenty of people from each group do this, but I would argue that just if we clocked a regular American off the street in New York, in a New York City, or in a big American city somewhere, clock them in the back of the head, tie them to a chair in a polite, loving way somehow, and you made the offer for them to meet angels, Sri Shirdi Sai Baba, Krishna from India, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, they'd probably do it much faster than a person who actually cared and was part of a Sri Shirdi Sai Baba organization. There's so much importance when you're part of the Sai Baba group or the Buddha group or the Jesus group. There's such not relevance, reverence attached to these figures that it's almost harder to let go to meet them. You might be able to meet a few angels, but you get to the Jesus part and you're like, oh, it's such a big deal. I'm making it a big deal. The best way to say it is take away all the groups. If it's your guardian angel, I've found in 13 years of doing this, people can do great for 5 hours straight. Yes, got it. What's next? Yes, what got it? What's next? Hug, seeing, feeling, getting answers, seeing energy flowing around, meeting angels, seeing angels. When it comes time to meet their guardian angel, the thinking kicks in and they put up resistance that just hadn't shown itself in the 3 or 4 hours before, because you think, oh my God, this is my guardian angel. It's such a big deal. And it's the it's such a big deal thing that I'm trying to reference that can hit all of us. Does everybody want to meet Tom Brady when he was at the New England Patriots? Do they want to go down on the football field and hang with the players? Probably not. A lot of people are really comfortable staying in the box and having the food and watching with binoculars down on the field, or watching at home from their living room where they're comfortable. Um, yeah, and that's the way they do the New England Patriots. But I'd like to remind everybody again this quote from Story Musgrave, the NASA astronaut: getting out of the comfortable path, that's what exploration is all about. Are you really exploring the outer world, life? I'd argue you're exploring your heart and how unlimited you really are. We get these tapestries, these like window dressing of how we think we are. We get settled into a role as a parent, as an astrophysicist, as a PhD, or 19 PhDs on the wall. None of those things help you actually listen. None of those things help you slow down out of the brain and what you know to do basic listening. To do basic listening, you just listen. To do basic seeing, you just see. That's all this is. It's the Zen thing: seeing without seeing, hearing without hearing, or hearing without listening, whatever that expression is. Your heart's already fully connected. It's got this. You're doing that listening all the time. I hate to break it to you, all the time. You just ignore it a lot. But you do it to navigate a supermarket. Subconsciously, you do it to navigate your house, to flip a light switch on the wall, to turn on a lamp. You spontaneously do things, and you're really fantastic at it. You just have to give yourself a little more credit and watch how the universe will jump in and fill in the blanks on all the rest. So you can full on see, you can full on hear, you can get any answers. People can do the joint listening thing. I'm off the hook on this. I've got a lot of photos. I mean, if I had to take a stab for what the photos are all about, they're in energy light form or light energy form. I don't even think I have fixed lingo, hopefully too much. Angels come in all shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds. They're here to help. They're unconditional love. They're way beyond what we can allow for at the science or medical level or the knowledge level, or how really humans roll. We still do a lot of negativity. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we're going to keep doing thinking and negativity. And I don't think we realize, and this isn't to guilt anybody, I'm not going to feel guilty about this, but the thinking that I do later this afternoon, I get cut off in my car, I get upset and I yell at the red Honda. That thinking is the same thinking that does the stress, the fear, the guilt, the worry. There's a collective unconsciousness slipstream around the globe. You don't have to worry about this stuff, but it's the same thinking that does the dark side of science, that created the nuclear bombs, that created the viruses that kill everybody, and all the other stuff. Nothing you can do about it. You can practice more peace, more love. If you really care about the climate, you're going to stop worrying about climate change. It's not up to humans to fix anything. Talk to an angel about it. It doesn't mean you and I are going to go start a factory and build 20 extra smokestacks tomorrow. It's not the same. It's the same thing with getting any of your answers to any of your questions. It doesn't mean you're going to go ask where to rob a bank and get a great answer from angels and rob a bank successfully. You're missing the point on this. Right and wrong isn't what you think it is. There's proper understanding. If everything's fear-based for you and you're getting bombarded with fear, guess what you're feeling? Fear. So choose where you put your focus, choose how you spend your energy whenever you decide to pay attention more and pay attention to how you're spending your energy. Here are the big three things I've learned in 13 years, and this is it. Maybe I'll come up with a fourth. Being kind to people, gentle on yourself, that's important. How you spend your energy is how you spend it. That's number one. Where you put your focus is where you put your focus. And finally, angels totally exist. Just you can see them in full in human form. Go down the street to your local village coffee shop and meet an angel at the doorway. Have a chat. Go have a cup of coffee with an angel. They'll be in human form. You pinch them. They might not say ouch, but they pinch you. You say ouch. There's no limits on this. I don't think anybody knows what no limits means because we are so filled with limits as human beings go. I don't mean like this much limits. I mean the size of my house, 40,000 layers of limits. Better not, can't be, not possible. Think about it. Don't think about it. Do a little less thinking. So, anytime you can smile, dance, pour a cup of tea, go for a walk, hug your dog, laugh for no reason at all, laugh for a good reason, you're doing love. And as soon as you realize what love is about and you really have an epiphany again, you knew it as a kid, you probably knew it when you were 25, but doing too much adulting and too much self-importance, and especially if you're like, I'm going to make it up, I'm going to bash scientists today, not trying to, but the more you're fixed in that whole intellect thing and all you can do is thinking and everything is just complete opposite of a Disney story. You're limited, 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 limited. Science is this, limited, limited, limited. Science is that, limited, limited, limited. That's not how it works. And you're going to find out pretty quickly in the next decade or two or sooner. Just watch other people who are loosey goosey and can open up and have a chat with an angel, Einstein, Carl Jung. You can have absolutely any answers to any questions. Ask, allow, ask, and listen. Imagine what happens when a younger generation that's not bogged down by the mind comes along and starts listening. Boom, baby, boom, compared to today's lack of pace, lack of growth. There's also some technology floating out there from wherever that's going to dwarf anything we know now that's already in existence. But I'll just say, like whatever you think that hidden technology is, or AI today, it's not a joke. It's important. There's people who view that as the most important stuff. AI this, AI that. Then AI is kind of like the first grade younger brother to Einstein in his 40s or 50s. I don't even need to talk about AI anymore. Now, there's the universe, which dwarfs AI by 100 to the 100th degree, or whatever I'm trying to say. The universe, any answers to any questions, all languages spoken, all dialects. I don't see your questions, I don't see your answers. Here's how the metaphor would look. We're all walking around looking at our shoe tips as we walk down the street. Very few people look up, which would be the definition of openness, look towards the stars, breathe easier, feel better, relax. Your entire storyline here is known in a beautiful, loving, supportive way. You were meant to hit certain waypoints on your unique life path. Trust that you're going to get that help whether you ask for it or not. If you want to ask for a little more help, guess what you're already doing? Like, you have two ray guns. You have a love ray gun and you have a total horrible thinking negativity ray gun. You use this ray gun. We'll call it a red beam. We're going to give red a bad rap. You got a red beam, you're firing that thing 50 times an hour, spraying and praying, or not praying, spraying. You're hitting everything and everyone. Turn on the TV and see how long can you hold out. 1 minute before you start spraying the red ray gun. You're judging and reacting to everything. Stress, fear, worry. Oh my God, my bank account. I didn't know about this bill. My car's broken. Everywhere. And then you got a happy, compassionate ray gun that's rainbow light. You don't even need the ray gun anymore. You do a little bit of like rainbow light hearts. You get to choose how you spend your energy all the time. And just because you don't know about any of this stuff doesn't mean you're not accountable for your energy expenditures. Look, you're going to realize what's important on your last breath in life. You'll have a little review. You realize, oh my God, it really was love. You need proof of this. I'll just give you a cheesy answer. The Last Samurai, that Tom Cruise Samurai Japan movie, the cool samurai, I forgot his name, at the end, who always was consumed with cherry blossoms. On his last dying breath, he looked at all the cherry blossoms and he said, each one is perfect, or something to that effect. The bottom line is perfection's imperfection, imperfection's perfection. Everything is super groovy and cool and love as it is. You're the only one that has to do the slowing down to appreciate more, to allow more, to let more light come in. You're simply adjusting the unconsciousness factor, which is tremendous for all our leading figures out there, and allowing a little more light and love and loosey-goosiness and some humor maybe in breathing and smiling and laughing in to do what you already got here, which is a lot more ability to be conscious, to allow, to flow, take action with no thought. You've got this. I hope this made sense. Don't forget, you're already doing this one way. Why wouldn't you just pay a little bit more attention to how you're doing it one way? You don't have to listen. You don't have to see. You don't have to feel anything. You might want to do it once a month. Try. No try yoga. Pay attention to, oh, am I doing that negativity thing? Could I be gentler about it? Could you be kinder? It doesn't mean you're any less of a business person or any less savvy. In fact, you simply are growing into a more savvy human being that cares more, and that everything you touch is better attended to. That's love. It's not thinking. You'll have to figure out the difference. You're the only one who can do your own figuring. I'll help you a couple of ways. There's a book that I did not write. I wrote it, but I was seeing balls of light as I typed in 2014. It's called Listening to Angels. It'll take you a whole 20 minutes. I'm going to argue it's 25 pages, real pages in life. It'll say 40, 45 in the at Amazon, but it's Listening to Angels, Michael Andre Ford, sometimes Michael A. Ford. You can find it on my website. It's amazon.com/author/angels. It's been an Amazon #2 bestseller twice. I think in the angel category, Anita Morjani was kind enough to do a review or an endorsement. There's also Glow Stick Zen. Only a handful of people have ever touched that book. 2/3 written by angels, Mary, Buddha, Jesus, and the rest. Same deal. I was hearing as I wrote. I was also popping, spiritually popping as I wrote this. So I gushed. I think it's 1,300 pages, 1,700. But if you use an iPad, a Kindle, it's closer to 2,000 or 3,000 pages. But they move fast. Any bad parts are me. Any fun parts are angels. I broke it into 22 smaller books. I think they're $9.99 each, so you can just take a little bite size and read the beginning. The prelude, the prologue is on my website for free. It's 22 books, $9.99 each at Amazon. But at Apple, if you don't mind buying the whole thing, it's over $200. It's ridiculous. It might be $200. Don't do that till you've read Listening to Angels and you've heard your first angel and gotten a hug. But it's a beautiful trek up the mountainside where it gives you a chance to shed your thinking, open up more, laugh more, love more. I think it's a truly fun book. It's something I don't normally talk about. You could see a ball of light fly by. We've had that happen on the the Angels Positivity and Love YouTube channel. We've had whooshes go by. Most of them are angels. We had one interdimensional Jesus fly by, multiple Jesuses, if you ask the other guest who did the listening. Absolutely incredible. I get stunned by that every time. I get stunned by seeing angels in human form. I've seen an angel named Heather in Vegas, in Austin, in Stockholm, in Hawaii, in New York, the same angel, but in different makeup, so to speak, different outfit, different person. You can ask for that. You can ask for it in dream time. That'll be a lot easier for most folks. You can ask for a feather at your doorstep. You can get an electronic feather, though, spinning down. That leaves you dumbfounded, looking around forever. If it disappeared 5 minutes later, you're like, where to go? Where to go? I saw a blue feather that was radiating light coming down. You're going to think you were tripping. I mean, this is the thing. There's something called the intellect, the brain. It's like a clamp that you use for those paper, for holding paper together. You got to squeeze it to release it. Everyone's got one of those on the brain. It's kind of running the show. It's your driver for your limo. The second you go through sort of a little mini transformation, a near-death experience, a health crisis, maybe you lose someone, something big and that's a little rough in life, usually that's when people pop out of the mind and get back into the heart. You don't have to do it that way. You can just do a lot of meditation, mindfulness, walks. Sports is a great way to let go of the brain. Watch the movie Peaceful Warrior. Dan Millman's book, Way of the Peaceful Warrior, is great. Nick Nolte, Scott Meklowitz, Amy Smart. It's going to look like just a gymnastics film, but it is absolutely a gorgeous story of transformation. You can meet that angel who was Sock or Socrates, the gas station attendant. I don't know, if you talk to New World Library, they have like 20 theories on who Sock is. I haven't heard how many theories Dan has on that or what he shares out loud. He does a lot of interviews. We've invited him on the show. Unfortunately, not this year, not 2025, not 2026, but we'll come back to Dan in 2027 or 2028 to extend the invite again to his assistant. But anybody can meet Soccer. It's an angel who is a coach for all things. He looks like Jeff Bridges, tuft to hair here, actually a Hawaiian shirt a little bit like this, but a big burly guy who's the dude, the big kahuna. When he walks across the beach with flip-flops, he's not going to trip on the beach. He owns the beach. And if you're a female and you get a hug from him and get dropped, like you're sitting like this, you meet him on a beach, you get a big hug, you get dropped back onto the sand, you're going to say, hey, you big lug, can I have another, please? So this is direct. The eye closing thing is better than a lucid dream. There's an interdimensional experience you can have where 5 minutes of our time is 10 or 15 minutes over there. Hawaii can come to you, Tibet, India, the Middle East, Nepal, Vietnam, a temple in some East Asian country. You can walk the Akashic records. There's a lot of other journeys. The crazy thing is, like Omega Institute, I had 3 women, I say young, but young energy in their late 20s, who were sitting like this within 10 feet of each other. 2 knew each other before the workshop. One had bonded with them during. They all got to see each other sitting like this, surfing the same set of waves. How cool is that? And I had 2 show hosts, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast in Florida. They got to see each other while they were surfing the same waves. It was the 3-way Zoom call. And so what I really am trying to say is if there are no limits in life, maybe there are really no limits. You're the only one who can allow for anything. So there's a lot of people who will right away be like, what's he talking about? What's he on? I mean, I've gotten, I think, thousands of comments by now that are just hilarious. I hide the user from the channel if it's YouTube. And, there's no point in doing what some people do on Twitter, and that's battle it out with folks and be like, well, you're wrong. And you can meet angels anytime you want. What would be the point? Everyone's running around as correct or right. I've never met anybody who runs around and says, I'm going to be purposely wrong for the rest of the year. So this whole being right and rightness and righteousness and everything else, I don't know, keep doing it. See how far it gets you in life. Has it gotten you very far as it is? What are you allowing for is the ultimate rub. There's a very famous figure from India, Ananda Mayama. She said it classically that everybody is right. And she had deeper meaning to it. But when you do compassion or love, you get out of that really narrow Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass of right or wrong. And angels will tell you there is no right or wrong. There's proper understanding. It means that you understand you shouldn't rob a bank or you shouldn't build more factories with smokestacks. But humans have an awfully awkward way of looking at reality, at life, at science, all this stuff, and applying themselves in odd ways. We do a lot of damage to ourselves, to others, to the environment. Not a lot of folks are really interested right now in, I don't know, listening, letting go, slowing their roll. There's a lot of people in the spiritual community. This is what I do is yet to be embraced by the spiritual community, the wellness community, the publishing community. That's okay. It is what it is. But what's cool is when people figure it out, they go, oh my God, angels, this is so cool. They get to meet Audrey Hepburn, feel her hand on the shoulder, put their hand out and feel her human hand in your hand. When you meet your relatives or passed over pooch, fantastic. I mean, why not practice with your actual pooch today? I've got a blonde dog on the couch over there. You can just listen to your dog. Like, are you really listening? Winnie the Pooh again. No one talks to animals. That's the problem. And that's the opportunity for growth for us all. Let me see if I can find that quote a little bit better. Some people talk to animals. Not many listen, though. That's the problem. And I would add, that's the opportunity for growth for us all. We're sort of like this with blinders on, like a horse, on pretty much everything. And I like the analogy of fantasy football. You were a New York Jets or a Las Vegas Raiders fan or a Rams fan or a Seattle Seahawks fan forever. And then you played fantasy football for the first time. And you quickly realize that year after year, players are getting traded everywhere. And to do fantasy football, let's just do a Seattle Seahawks fan. If you do fantasy football and you only draft from the Seattle Seahawks, odds are you're going to be dead last in your league every year in a row for 20 years. You have to have some flexibility and pick from other teams. There's like 32 teams in the NFL. So you have to learn to break down your own boundaries, your own barriers. And what's really cool about fantasy football is that's exactly what it does. It teaches you more patience. It breaks down your boundaries. You came in as a New England Patriots fan, one and only, nothing else exists. 31 other teams suck. Your team's number one. Welcome to being human. That's how we all roll, no matter what the topic is. Astrophysicist stuff. I got 3 Stanford PhDs. I'm the number one published person, 500 papers a year. I'm the acclaimed scientist. I make this person and that person look like chumps. I know it all. I don't meet a lot of people who are like, hey, I want to meet the universe. I want to meet a Pleiadian. I want to meet an Arcturian, a Lyran, 2 Atlanteans. I want to meet an angel. I want to meet a djinn who's East Asian mysticism. I want to meet a fairy. I want to meet my grandmother who passed away 10 years ago. I know she's around, but I've never really paid attention to this whole thing of what is really in and around us as more love. I want to get all my answers from my scientific formula. Is the phone ringing off the hook with human beings saying, I want to explore the universe as we know it? No. Humans set up awfully ridiculous contraptions to try to prove that life exists in the universe, that we're not alone. It's the long road, the slow road, the kind of, did you say something? Whoa road. Imagine what happens when a group of people start to realize that the universe is really alive. It's within you and around you. You're more like a Jedi. You got no limits. There's something called energy, love, consciousness, even the consciousness crowd. Everything's got to be scientifically done with papers. I don't know how many more decades that's going to take, but it's also just going to get left in the dust. All you have to do is pay attention more, ask for an amazing vision quest, like that wrestling movie from the 80s. I think there was Madonna music in it. Ask for some sort of just kick butt dream. If you like Native American settings and India setting, tell them to surprise you, go surfing with angels. Ask for whatever you can ask for. Hey, angels, universe, sock it to me. I'll take a lot more humor, super smiling strangers, a lot of encouragement, some beautiful compliments from random people, a lot more smoothness at my workplace. I could use a newer job. What are you putting out to the universe? You don't have to worry about if you're hearing the universe. It'd be great if you wanted to pay attention and take that extra step. But why don't you start paying attention to what you're doing one way with those ray guns? Boom, boom. Do a little less of this boom and a little more of this boom. Love towards yourself first. Give yourself a break and see what happens as you let go of what you know. That's all this is. For photographs of angels, a few videos, go to my website, michaelandreford.com. There's incredible testimonials, 102 testimonials. Some of those are videos. I think those testimonials are better than most. You're going to get flavor. One person from Omega Institute wrote at the end of her testimonial, and Tinkerbell was my very favorite. You can peek at the pictures of angels section and see a picture of a fairy, Tinkerbell. It took me 6 months to accept or allow for Tinkerbell existing. 6 months for Plato. 6 months for Dull Knife Redshirt Geronimo. This is a lot to accept. The brain is like a pea, like a vegetable, carrot, a pea. And then the heart is like the ocean or an NFL player. And most of our discussion levels, whether we're talking climate change, spirituality, alien existing, UAP disclosure stuff, is at the high school, Friday Night Lights high school level, which is very important, by the way. But there's something called the NFL that dwarfs all the Friday Night Lights people. All the high school players who are future NFLers will agree the NFL is the shit. Excuse the French. It's the game. It's the pinnacle of everything. The universe, it's just so much sparklier and bigger than we realize. And so we're limited when we're doing the intellect to just sort of Friday Night Lights stuff. People don't know it. They got to keep doing what they're doing. They got to pursue all this with thinking, institutes, scientific papers, and so on. It's all good how it is. But for the bold, I've done this 2 times already. I'll do it to wrap it up. For the bold, it's getting out of the comfortable path. That's what exploration is all about. And you are the biggest explorer there is. And in fact, you could do circles around the leading minds today if you simply paid attention 7% more, did 7% less thinking a day. Michael Andre Ford, I like to help you explore the universe and show you everything that it provides. Any answers, any questions, angels can alter your path as well. They know exactly where you're at with your bank account down to the decimal point. Trust me on that one. They can help with advice, actionable advice, who to call, what to do less of, to help you reorient so you're wasting less of your energy. If you could see how it's a giant glacier, a giant floating iceberg of how much wasted energy goes on, that's going to continue. Yeah, you can shrink the iceberg down quite a bit, actually, if you pay attention and do a little bit more mindfulness, meditation, love, letting go. But where you want to put your focus is, when you do love, enjoy it. Love could just be watching a comedy. It could be hugging the dog, taking a shower and singing in the shower. And you do a little chubby checker Elvis. There's 40 million ways to be here, but there's 400 million ways that the experts will tell you it's not possible. None of this can exist, and so on. So Learn what you can learn, allow for what you can allow for, have more fun, have your cake and eat it too. No calories in the cake. Each cake equals a smile. Own the bakery, own the icing factory, own the trucking fleet, own the airplane fleet that ships all your cakes overseas and domestically so that everyone's smiling. Only you can figure this out. Thank you very much. Michael Andre Ford in Texas. Have fun.